Today, the whole footballing world woke up to the sad news of the passing of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre in a tragic car accident out in Spain where he was on holiday. And I just wanted to speak about the player that Jota was for Liverpool Football Club and generally the human being that he was in and around the club. And obviously, we don't know Jota personally as much as his friends and his family, but through his time at Liverpool, through interviews, through watching him play, we get to know a little bit about the person that he was. And as soon as I saw the news, my thoughts and prayers went out to his family, his wife, who they got recently married 5 days ago actually, and his 3 little kids who are now without a dad. But I'm sure as they grow up, they will have these memories that he had with them of their father being an incredible football player and the contribution that he made to both Liverpool and Portugal as a football player, and for Wolves, where we signed him from before, and I'm sure there are other clubs that he played for in his youth and academy days before he came to the Premier League. Now, Diogo Jota was not only an incredible striker for Liverpool, but when we signed him in 2020, he was supposed to be the replacement for Sadio Mane, who was playing in a similar position. But we soon discovered his versatility. We discovered his ability on the ball, but also his ability in front of goal and his composure and calm in front of goal. He's one of those rare strikers that can strike the ball in many different ways, had different finishes in his locker, and could strike the ball with his left and his right foot. To this day, I still am not too sure which his preferred foot was, because he was so good with his left and his right. And he also scored an incredible amount of headers for a player of his stature, and I always enjoyed watching Diogo Jota play. And every time the lineup would come, I would always post on my WhatsApp status, Jota plays, Jota scores. And that's how confident I was in his finishing abilities, and that's how much I loved the player. This is one of my favorite players at Liverpool since we signed him at Liverpool. And before he came to Liverpool, I didn't even know too much about him. I saw him a couple of games where we played Wolverhampton Wanderers before we signed him, but having him around the club and watching him play, I really came to enjoy how he played football, the tenacity that he displayed off the ball, and the aggression and grace that he displayed on the ball. We totally loved watching Diogo Jota play, and the only thing that robbed us of Jota at Liverpool were injuries. And I remember in an interview last season, I think, he spoke about mental health and how injuries and fitness can affect your mental health, because you spend so much time not playing when you're injured that you start doubting, will I ever be able to play again? Will I play at the same intensity? Will I still display the same qualities? But he spoke about the fortitude mentally that you need to have to overcome your injuries, but also overcome the mental block that you get as a football player when you spend time on the sideline. I think it was an interview with LFC TV. I can't remember if Joe Gomez also spoke in that interview, but it was kind of a roundtable interview, and I found his insight in general about football in interviews. He was one of those players who loved the whole game, not just loved the position that they played, but also enjoyed speaking about football, talking tactics, and he had a football brain, and you could see in his play, in his positioning, in his movement, in his finishing, that this is a person who really is in love with the game. And I remember in another quotation where he spoke about a goal drought that he had. He spoke about the advice that he got from Cristiano Ronaldo while they were on international duty for Portugal, about goals, that when the first goal comes, they're like buses, You don't see them for a while at the bus stop, but as soon as the first one arrives, you start seeing more of them coming through. And that displays the type of player that he was, because when he hit form for Liverpool, he couldn't stop scoring goals, and we really enjoyed watching him play. And I wish without the injuries I could have seen more of Jota. And for me, even for next season, I would have loved to see an injury-free Jota play through the majority of the season. And also, as a human being, as a football brain, we saw Jota. Another side of Jota during lockdown that I saw for the first time was that he could have equally had a career in esport. He was a very brilliant gamer, and when during lockdown, there was a competition where the Premier League players, the Premier League teams, arranged an esport Premier League where Jota was the overall winner of that competition. And most of the time, through EA releases and things like that, he was the one who was the most enthusiastic about playing FIFA. And around the whole team, they knew that Jota is the person that you can't beat in FIFA. And he was generally a lovely person to be around, from what we get from interviews and from the players and from the managers. And we've seen the tributes coming out today from Jurgen Klopp, from the players that played with him, from the teams that he played for previously. And in this difficult time, though we mourn the loss of Diogo Jota at such a young age as well, we also must remember and celebrate the amazing memories and achievements that he had, because he spoke about the struggles that he had growing up, trying to have a career or dreaming about a career in football, and to watch him have achieved his dream and live his dream. And I'm glad that this year, even more, that we could win this Premier League and watch him lift the Premier League, obviously not knowing that such a tragic thing would happen. And I'm sure his family would prefer to still have him, his wife, who's been with him. If you look at the pictures on social media, through even before he became a superstar player. So our condolences to the whole family. And as Liverpool fans around the world, we love Diogo Jota, and we will continue to pray for the family and for the little kids especially. You will never walk alone, Diogo Jota. You will never walk alone, to the Jota family, and especially the little kids. I hope you're constantly reminded of how amazing your dad was, and how amazing his footballing abilities and his footballing brain and his fortitude mentally brought him to the success that he had, to now share it with you even in his absence.